Bibliophiles of the internet, my name is Audrey, and today I'm here to chat about some of my newest books. First of all, helpful links will continue to be down below. If they need to be updated, I will update them, but I still encourage you to check those out. Second of all, I normally do a book haul for every quarter, but I've been putting off my second quarter book haul because quarantine happened, and I'm not even gonna lie, it's just too much. And especially with the way I do book hauls, it would just be way too much work. So I actually saw this video on Erica's channel, The Broken Spine, which I highly recommend, and her video will of course be linked down below, but basically she did like a top 10 Tuesday video where she hauled the last 10 books she had bought, which seemed like a really nice compromise. So that's what I'm going to be doing today, and full disclosure, these are not like the last 10 books I've gotten chronologically, but they are 10 books I've gotten in the last quarter that I'm most excited about, so let's get into the books. First up is Into the Tall, Tall Grass by L'Oreal Ryan. Y'all know I hear the words Latinx middle grade and I come running. This is an Own Voices Latinx middle grade story about a young girl named Yolanda, and everyone in her family has a magical gift, but they keep their magic secret. One day, her grandmother, Wela, falls into a mysterious sleep, and around the same time, a strange grass appears in the desert behind their house, and the secret to helping Wela may be hidden deep in that grass. Then I had also pre-ordered Veronica Comics by Jennifer Dugan. Jennifer Dugan wrote Hot Dog Girl, which I really enjoyed, and this is her newest queer YA contemporary story about Jubilee and Ridley, whose parents actually own rival comic book stores. Jubilee's parents own an indie comic shop, and Ridley's parents own one of the biggest comic store chains in the country, and the two of them meet at a comic convention prom, feel an instant connection, and realize they may have to keep their relationship secret. As you can tell from the title, it has like a star-crossed lovers, modern Romeo and Juliet type vibe, and I'm excited to see how that plays out. Of course, I had to also pre-order Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo, my forever fave. This is another Own Voices Afro-Latinx contemporary story written in verse about two girls, one from New York and the other from the Dominican Republic, whose father dies in a plane crash, and that tragic incident leads them to learn that they are, in fact, sisters. So it's about them trying to parse through their father's secrets and understand his choices while also trying to figure out how to move on from this loss. Elizabeth Acevedo can do no wrong in my eyes, so I know this is going to be great. Another book I had pre-ordered was this special early first edition of Phoenix Extravagant by Yoon-Ha Lee. This actually doesn't come out until October 20th, but I ordered this special signed first edition from Goldsboro Books, which cost more than I'm willing to admit, but was definitely worth it. This is an Own Voices queer fantasy story about Njeri, who is a non-binary, self-described, apolitical pacifist artist who literally just wants to get paid for what they paint. They're scouted by this obscure branch of the military to be in charge of painting the glyphs that animate the government's automaton soldiers, and by accepting the position, they're realizing that the government's actions are not something they can condone in silence. I've read this book, I've loved this book, I've talked about it in my July wrap-up. It is badass. Then I was kindly sent both an ARC and a finished copy of Loizona by Romina Garber, courtesy of the folks at Wednesday Books. This is another one I talked about in my July wrap-up. It's an Own Voices Latinx paranormal fantasy about Manu, an undocumented Argentine immigrant living with her mom in the States, and her whole life she's had to hide away not only because of her legal status, but because of her strange star-shaped pupils. When her mom is arrested in an ICE raid, Manu finds herself on the run and discovers this other magical world hidden within our own where brujas and werewolves exist, and this could just be the missing puzzle piece she's been looking for her entire life. It's a really beautiful, unique, magical fantasy story that has so much to enjoy, and I definitely recommend it. Next up is a book I could not keep out of this haul in good conscience because it's the official art book for the Given series by Kizu Natsuki. It's no secret that Given is like my entire life and one of my all-time favorite series. It's a queer slice-of-life music series about this prolific guitarist, Unoyama, who's at school one day and comes across this quiet, sad boy named Mafuyu cradling a guitar with broken strings. Not only does Unoyama find himself fixing the guitar for Mafuyu, but he invites Mafuyu to join his band when he learns that the other boy is a gifted lyricist and has an amazing voice. It's honestly such a beautiful series. It's fun and it's laugh out loud funny, but it's also deeply, deeply emotional and moving and soft. I cannot say enough good things about it. I also ordered Pet by Akweke Emezi, and I'm mostly including this one because I actually bought it for the Blackout List initiative, and it took like 6 weeks to get here, so I'm trying to process that it's actually in my hands. This is an Own Voices queer magical story about a young trans girl named Jam who lives in the city of Lucille, where it's said that monsters no longer exist. But then she accidentally releases this creature from one of her mom's paintings, and the creature tells her that there is a dangerous monster lurking in her best friend's house. This is one of those really unique, beautifully written stories that's all the more powerful for its brevity and its insight. I read it for the Queer Blackathon and really loved it, and I would definitely recommend it. After that, I actually won a giveaway from Page Street Kids for for an advanced copy of Blazewrath Games by Amparo Ortiz. It's an own voices Latinx fantasy about Lana Torres, who's always dreamed of representing her native Puerto Rico in the Blazewrath World Cup, which is a huge international tournament where dragons and their riders take part in this epic relay that's every bit as prestigious as it is dangerous. When she finally gets a chance to possibly be on the team, she discovers that the safety of the cup could be compromised, and she gets drawn into an international conspiracy that's even deadlier than her beloved sport. Honestly, all you had to say was Latinx fantasy and dragons. Say less. I'm in. Then I used my very last book of the month credit to get Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I've read pretty much everything by Silvia Moreno Garcia, and this is her latest own voices twist on a Gothic story set in 1950s Mexico. It's about Noemi, who receives this urgent, mysterious letter from her newlywed cousin begging someone to come save her from her husband's house. So Noemi heads out to the Mexican countryside, not knowing what exactly she's going to find, but her cousin's in-laws turn out to be very mysterious, and the house begins invading Noemi's dreams with visions of blood and doom. So she is determined to figure out what exactly is happening at High Place. And finally, the actual most recent book that's come to my doorstep is Ava Evergreen, Semi-Magical Witch by Julia Abe. This has been low-key one of my most anticipated middle grade releases for 2020. It's this whimsical middle grade fantasy adventure about Ava, who could lose her magic forever if she can't prove that she is worthy of it. So her task is to go protect a small town for a month as their resident witch, but the problem is she only has just a pinch of magic. And while Ava comes up with some really creative semi-magical fixes to help the townspeople, her true test comes when a huge magical storm threatens the town, and she will have to see if her small bit of magic is enough to save the day. This sounds like a super cute, creative, magical story, and if you don't think so, I'm not sure we can be friends. So there you have it. Those are just a small selection of books I've acquired recently that I've been excited to share. If there's an interesting book you've acquired recently, whether it's a purchase, something from your library, or a book someone sent you, I'd love to hear all about it in the comments down below. But that's everything I had for this mini book haul today. Until next time, educate yourself, be kind to yourself, take care of yourself, and I'll catch you on the flip side of the page.